message.
Oh,
Aw, I know. Oh.
oh God, you better have a buzzer or beeper.
Well, you never know. You never know. We all like a bit. We all like a little bit.
I'll be
We're
very
talking
quiet.
about certain ginger people. You never know.
Oh, yeah.
So, anyway, I'll just start off with a little bit about myself. For those of you who haven't been on tour with me yet, or who haven't done a virtual tour, I am Catriona. So it should be Catriona. That's my original, well, that's what I should have been called, but my mother didn't know how to pronounce it. So yeah, it's it's Catriona. I have been a tour guide for the past 7 years, all over Scotland. I started doing Outlander tours first, way back in the beginning of 2015. So I was way off. I started the whole Outlander itinerary, and I've had most of these have been on my tour so far. So that's been great. And I have to thank you for all your continued support through this time, because as you can imagine, it's quite difficult for people in the travel industry. So I've come up with this new way of bringing Scotland into your living room. Now, the purpose of today's tour is Outlander Season 2. So this is a usual itinerary that we do pretty much on a weekly basis, and it covers 4 sites. Now, it covers Hopetoun House. We then go to Linlithgow, and I know Linlithgow is actually Season 1 location, but it feeds into Season 2, so that's why we've included it. We then go to Callander House, and then we finish up at Drummond Gardens. So it's a really lovely tour, and I think some of you have been to some of these locations with myself. And tonight I'm wearing my Fraser's Ridge t-shirt.
Ooh,
I've
like
got
it.
this lovely bracelet, which was made for me by a customer, a lovely guest over
That's
in...
ooh, with the dragonfly.
It's a dragonfly for Dragonfly and Amber, and she makes Viking knit stuff, and she's over in Washington State.
Wow.
And then I've got my Dragonfly and Amber earrings and necklace that I was gifted by Hamilton Young. So I met them in New York, and they gave me this. So I was like, that's awesome. So we've got Jamie with us as well tonight. And I have my trusty. Now, this is brand new. This is really sad because we didn't get a chance to use them really this year. These are the brand new Outlander filming location maps by Visit Scotland. So we get these. They're free. They don't cost anything. We get these sent to us by Visit Scotland. They produce the maps, and they're quite good because they give you a nice, if I've got it up the right way around, they've got a nice map of Scotland, as you can see there, with different points that show all the different filming locations all around the country. And obviously that is increased because now we're 5 seasons in, soon to be 6 seasons.
I hope so.
There we go. And I'll be pointing out roughly where we're going on my map. So there you go. The other thing, I do have a Season 2 Outlander Bible. I'm not going to use it entirely tonight because it's quite a large file, and it takes a while to load, and I think you guys just want to get through the tour nicely. But you will all receive a copy of that tomorrow. But I will go through the Hopetoun side because that's where we tend to spend the majority of our time. It's a good 2.5 of this tour is at Hopetoun House because it is such a significant site. And we also do tend to have our lunch there. So I'm not going to waste any more time, and we're going to take you over to our and here we go. Catriona, find it. always. Right, I know what I've done. I've not clicked on it. Give me a wee second. This is the one thing about doing virtual tours. You have to go in and out and in and out. There we go. So I'm just going to share this wonderful PDF with you guys. So here we are. So can everybody see that?
Yep.
Yes.
Yes.
So this is a document that I put together for all of our tour guides, because obviously as we grew, we kind of grew in size and we employed other tour guides who needed to do the same thing. And it was important to share the same knowledge and passion across the board. So I created all these little Bibles so that it would give both our guides and our guests a good quick pointers to things that maybe we would get asked questions about. So there's a little bit about the history, and I try not to bore you, so I'm not going to go into too much about it, but it is one of the grandest houses in Scotland. So we tend to arrive there for about 10:30 in the morning. Don't go before that because they're not opened. You go for 10:30, and we make our way straight into the house. Now we tend to do a wee tour around the Outlander sites. And one moment, somebody's just wanting to come in. Oh, enlarge my window. One moment, Fran. Let's see if I can do that.
Jeez, demanding.
I think I can. We've got Patty here. I don't know if I can enlarge it. Don't worry too much about it, Fran. What I'll do is I'll send you the link to it afterwards. So hopefully that works. What I might do is put that. Hold on. There we go. Is that better?
I enlarged it myself.
There we go. Okay. Hopefully that works.
Yep.
So when you go to the history of Hopetoun, you can see it was constructed. So for those who don't know, I did a Outlander season 1 tour last week. So if you haven't seen that, you can also get access to the YouTube link for that. And it's quite good because it leads on to this. But this is the Hope family. So they also own the Hopetoun, the Mid-Hope Castle, which is Lallybroch as well, which is not too far from the house. So they have had a lot of filming on their estate. The head of this house here is the Marquis of Linlithgow. What am I talking about? It's 11 o'clock at night, guys. The head of this house is actually the Earl of Hopetoun. So it's quite unique in that sense that the house is given a title opposed to a person. So usually a person will receive a title, whereas in this case, the person who resides in this house receives the title. So his father is actually the Marquis of Linlithgow, and he has other houses in the area that he is in control of, and he receives that status and has his seat in the House of Lords. His son, which is quite unique, has managed to get a title through the house, so he's now the Earl of Hopetoun, and on his father's death, he will then become the Marquis of Linlithgow, and his eldest son, they're also twins, his eldest son will become the Earl of Hopetoun. So that's really how it works at the house when you go to see it. It's very Downton Abbey-esque. So these are just some photographs that I've taken. You can actually get up onto the roof and you can see the Forth bridges over here. So it's right over the River Forth. It's beautiful. It's absolutely stunning. And this is obviously outside. So there are some things that I always tell our guests to look out for. So we've got the pet cemetery. We've got a ceiling. One of my favorite things to show you guys when I take you into Hopetoun is the ceiling that they uncovered in the 1980s. And it looks almost identical to the paneling which was put up in the 1960s. And when they did the paneling in the 1960s, they didn't know about the roof. So the ceiling is actually, or rather the ceiling is original to when the house was built by the architect William Bruce. So he's a very prominent Scottish architect, and this is very tail end of the 17th century. So this is 1699 we're talking about. So they managed to find it. Other things I love about going around the house is the paintings that you see around. So you've got a couple of Rembrandts, and just beautiful paneling. So I've got a nice wee quickly take you through some of the filming locations, and then we're going to show you a quick video of Hopetoun House so you can get a nice walkthrough, and I'll talk about that as we go through. So famous from season 1. So obviously, you know, we're going into mainly season 2, but it was also used for season 1. And that is obviously the Duke of Sandringham's residence here. And it's the Red Room. They didn't need to do too much to the interior, as you could imagine. They just moved the seating around, and that was pretty much it. They were good to go. And for that reason, Hopetoun is actually used for many different things. It was just recently used, and I forget the name of the show, actually. Stuart, you might remember, because Stuart's into all the filming stuff, but it was just recently used. Here, this was the original entrance to the house at the time of Bruce when he designed it. It's now what we would consider the back of the house, and this is where Jamie and Myrta turn up to go and speak to the Duke. If you remember when he goes to have the feud with the McDonalds. Then we've got the infamous tree out in the gardens, and this they just CGI'd a few things. You can just see that doesn't look like that. There's obviously a pathway which comes through here, so they've done a lot of work to cover the path and also to put some CGI up so that it looks more authentic. But it's a lovely garden nonetheless, and you can go and take your picture under the jewel tree, and I'll show you that in a moment. And then we've got season 2. So in season 2, Hopetoun featured in a lot of the Parisian scenes. So you've got outside the brothel in Paris. You've got inside. So this is upstairs in one of the bedrooms, the tapestry rooms, although they put their own tapestries up and their own bedding up when they were filming. So they kind of dressed it themselves when they were filming season 2. And I suppose they just wanted to make it look more French, I would assume. Their kind of eye for detail is amazing. So this is obviously Mary Hawkins here, just after she was attacked. And then, look at this. People wouldn't even realize this. We're now inside Hellwater in season 3. So we've got the same, that's still there. I mean, they didn't even do anything. They just filmed inside it the way it looks normally, which is great. Again, the Hellwater stables is where near just one street off where they had what they now call Rape Street, where Mary Hawkins was raped. And then this is now coming to the front of the house when they are arriving at Ellesmere. So they're now inside Hellwater, outside Ellesmere, inside Paris, the Duke of Sandringham's residence. So Hopetoun has been used for so many different things, which is why we tend to stay there for a minimum of 2.5 hours. And I'm just going to quickly point, can you guys all see my mouse here? Because this is a good front view. So this is the front. So this is the Adam side, because obviously the house was redesigned or extended on in the 18th century by the famous architects Adam. The Adam family, the father and son, had a lot to do with this side. So this here was built primarily as a ballroom. They ended up using it as a fancy stables. It was only used once for the Earl's 21st birthday over here. Over on this side, this was the old stable. So imagine being a horse on there.
Yeah.
It's quite amazing. But this is actually where they have their restaurant area now. So we tend to go to Hopetoun and we'll have our lunch here in the stables. It's a very nice place to have lunch, and they do like afternoon tea and things like that. It's taken a little while for them to get themselves kind of up to speed with the increased visitors, as you could imagine. There's a lot more people tending to visit. They decided last year to make it more of a canteen setup, which didn't work, and now they're back to table service. And I don't know what they're going to do in the future, so we'll have to see. But it's a really lovely place, and we all feel kind of grand going there, especially walking up these steps to get inside the house. So what I'm going to do is stop sharing that. And this is the way it's going to go, guys, because it's going to go back to me, back to sharing. Yes, Ruth, how can I help?
Catherine messaged me. Her Zoom crashed, and they're having to help her. But she'll be back.
I'm here.
Oh,
Oh, you are? Okay.
Oh, there you are,
Welcome
Catherine. I
back.
see you. Hello, hello. Awesome. And I see Patty's in as well. Hi, Patty. Awesome. Okay. So we're going to go now quickly to show you just a quick YouTube video. It's a nice film that I found on the internet. It doesn't belong to me, but our films are not that great for some of these locations because I was doing a lot of them live. So you just have a shaky camera in my face. So I found a really lovely a film. I'm just going to get it up. And then I'm going to share it, but I'm going to share it without the sound, just so that I can do my talk over. Oh, I need to do this. Okay, it's a slightly smaller picture, so you're just going to have it like that. Oops. Right. So can everybody see that? Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is Hopetoun. This is a nice film. So I'm just going to make it as big as I can. There we go.
There we go.
Wow.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Okay.
Nice.
So this is, they've got a beautiful garden. So this is why we tend to stay so long there, because we give ourselves at least an hour in the house and then an hour in the garden. So this is the front, and we walk up these front steps here. This is the entrance. I love walking up that entrance. And you can just see just up on the roof there, just up here, you can actually get to the roof there. And that's where I took that picture, which looked right over the Forth River. So it's just very pretty. As you can imagine, there's a lot of horse connection because they were famous horsemen. They were quite famous for their horsemanship. And there you go. This is just, it's beautiful, isn't it? It does take us inside in a minute, so don't worry about that. I just think the architecture's lovely.
It is beautiful.
And it's
The details.
The detail's amazing, and it's a very, very typical Adam house. Now, for a lot of people you don't know, Prince Philip often stays in the house whenever he's up in the area. And he famously calls the house the Long House because it's very long. And that's just the ballroom in there that I mentioned that they had the stables in. So this is actually coming right into the entrance of the house. It's that fireplace, got a lovely fireplace. And these are some of the past. That was the latest, the Earl who died last. This is just some of their family. Oh, there's the Rembrandt. That's a Rembrandt there, guys.
Really?
Just randomly on the wall.
Wow.
Yep, it's a Rembrandt.
Wow.
I just, you're just walking around that room going, wow, like, because what these people used to do, they didn't just, it wasn't necessarily painted for them, as you would imagine. What they would do is they would go around on European tours in the 18th and the 19th century, and they would acquire all this stuff. This is the famous, this Earl is the one who died very young, and his line ended, and it went to his half kind of brother, who was a famous general in Waterloo. But this is the Red Room. So this is the room that you have. Oh, and let me just pause this.
Whoa.
Just pause this. Now, this ceiling, I love it because when you look up at the ceiling, it's up here. I just need to kind of turn my face. It's this one here. It's this one here. When you look at it from below, it's like a hidden face. So you can't really see it from this angle, but when you're directly under, it was made and designed so that when you're sitting in the room, because remember, this is a room for entertaining, or the ladies would be sitting in their separate chairs and, looking at different things. So a room was there to help tell story and to distract you and to keep you occupied as much as anything else. So they would hide little things here. So you'll see, he looks like he's, do you remember, what's it called? Don Bluth, is it? The writer? And they used to do like illustrations with little pixie hats. Anyway, it looks like that. That's what it reminds me of. So it's a beautiful, beautiful room. And I'm just going to carry on here.
Wow. That is absolutely.
It's spectacular. Now we're in the dining room. Now, famously, King George the Fourth. I'm just going to stop that again.
Oh, look at that.
King George the Fourth of Scotland is the first royal, king or queen to visit Scotland in 200 years. Okay, so in 1819, I think it was, that he came up to Scotland very quickly. He got off a boat. He came to Hopetoun. He had lunch, and then he got on the boat again and went away. And when he was here, he knighted the artist Rayburn and some other guy, I forget his name now. He was a military man. So he did 2 knightings while at Hopetoun. And this room has been dressed the way it would have been to welcome the king. Now, George IV famously was the fat one. If anyone's heard, he was the one who became king very, very old in life. He was married to a woman. He raised lots of debts. He's the one who's responsible for Buckingham Palace and places like that. But anyway, so this was dressed for him. And it's the lovely thing about Hopetoun is when you're visiting, they have volunteers who hang around. There's usually somebody standing here. But this is a beautiful room filled with portraits of most of the earls and their ladies. So it's a beautiful room, and you might get a sense of that in a moment.
Looks like the
there he is.
Dinner from Jamie.
So, one moment. I just want to quickly show you this. So this guy, he's the chap who was famous at Waterloo, and he's the one who was like the kind of not direct line, if that makes sense, to acquire his title. But he's got this hair, and one of the ladies, one of the volunteers, and I hope she's still about, she fancies him. That's her favorite man. But the only thing is, if you go in, he does look like he's had a bit of a fright because his hair kind of stands up on him. Like, he does look like he's just had a bit of a fright. I don't know if it's the story that he's got this this lady, 200 years fancying him or what it is. But anyway, so you've got a lovely room. And this is the oldest part. Okay, so now we're in the Bruce part of the house. So this is the older part, and it's lovely again. You've got these lovely tapestry panellings, and it's very fusty though. You've got wooden panelling. You know what I mean by fusty? Fusty is a good Scottish word. It smells old.
That would be musty.
Musty. That's
musty.
It. Musty like a loft. That's it. So this is this is up in one of the bedroom areas now. This is just off to the side. We might get into one of the bedrooms in a minute.
Oh my God!
Oh no! Now we're downstairs again.
Unbelievable.
This is the library.
Oh, look at those books.
Now there is an original. Hold on a minute. There's original Charles Dickens.
Oh.
What was it? I've just forgotten it off the top of my head. It was an original because they actually made a spelling mistake in it, and they've still got it. I mean, that book is worth more than all of us, and some. You know what I mean? Was it Great Expectations? I'm pretty sure it's Great Expectations.
Wow.
Yeah, it would have been cooler if it's a dictionary. Yeah, I mean the books in here. There's the Latin books. There's Greek books, because you can imagine. All the heirs, all the kids actually, they all go to boarding school away, but part of their education over the centuries would be these books. So they've managed to acquire all these amazing books. I love libraries anyway, so I just love this room. And they have some of the books and things out on display, and often there's a lot of students who come and do a lot of their archives. So sometimes you can see them in a room. Now, this is that ceiling I was talking about, guys. So this is the ceiling they uncovered. And wouldn't you think, this is from the 1960s, this paneling. And it was the Earl who who dedicated that to his wife who sadly passed away, of all the different things that she liked. This is that ceiling. Look at that. Imagine just finding this under paint. Anyway, so this is the room. And this is the butler.
Oh, look at the bills,
area.
yeah.
See, this is okay. Now we're outside.
Oh, the sheep.
Just try to figure out where we are outside. By the car park, I think that is.
Oh dear God.
There we go. Now we're in the back of the house, and this is the little. We've got like it's like a fountain that sometimes sprays here. So this is the old entrance. Oh, there we go. Okay, so let's stop that. There we go. We're going somewhere else now. So, have we got any questions about Hopetoun House and about their filming in Hopetoun House?
No.
Are we all good?
Okay.
Yes,
Yeah.
Pat.
I have
Good.
a question. I have
Yes.
a question.
Yes.
Are any of those used for when Claire is talking with Louise and her friends? Any of the rooms with the fireplace? They sort of look like they might have been. When Louise is gossiping and Claire gets very upset and walks.
I know exactly where that was filmed, and that was actually filmed on set.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
So
Oh.
I don't know if you guys know this, but when they were filming season 3, I was very lucky to get a private studio tour.
Boom.
And because I'm a guide, and one of the ladies who was with me was friends with the head of Sony, as you do. And she said to me, she went, oh, I've managed to ask my mate Peter if he can give us a private studio tour. Do you want to come with? And I was like, no, of course. So we got in there, and they were filming season 3, and there were it was a private tour, so I had 2 ladies with me and myself, and sadly the both of them are no longer with us suddenly. Just over a year ago now, but they were real characters. But anyway, I took them, and in the old Boston set, so the Boston set that they have for season 3, I was in there, which was amazing, by the way. It's like, I'm in Boston. But they explained to us that they had built that set was originally the Paris. So you go up high, and then you see that like the balcony and everything that looks out. So that was all filmed on set. Then they take you to Prague. So they also filmed some of the scenes for Paris and Prague. So not everything was filmed in Scotland, but the majority of it was. Things that didn't look at all French. They went to Prague. So if you want to go there, I've not been yet, but that's the next one I want to try.
Catriona,
Yes?
I want to go to bed. I do apologise.
No problem, Stuart. You go to your bed. See you later. It's
It's been-
knackered.
Night, Stuart.
Night.
It's been 18
Regards
hours,
to
so
Malcolm.
I'm kind of gone now.
Oh, that's fine. Have a
Night,
have a good
Stuart.
sleep.
Good
Take
night.
care.
Tomorrow.
Speak soon, okay? Sorry,
Take care.
Catriona. I
No
tried, but
worries.
look.
It's us Scots. It's fine. See you later, Stuart.
Great talking to you.
Awesome.
It's so
So-
late there.
I know it is. It's now coming up for 20 to
Oh boy.
12. And Stuart's a postman as well, so he's probably been up since 5 o'clock this morning.
Oh my gosh.
He was trying. You'll get the link after. It's fine.
He tried.
He tried. But yeah, so the inside was all filmed on set, basically, for that. Prague on set and most of the outside scenes. The inside Paris bedroom with Mary is inside Hopetoun, but that's pretty much it.
I took a tour here in LA. They had season 2 costumes at what's called the Pally Center. And our friend Francesca, she did a lot of the embroidery on that. And those garments were unbelievable, the detail that you just can't see in the production. The detail.
It's absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
And you see that when I was on set, they took us through each, because I've been an extra, right, for Outlander in season 2 and in season 4, but you go
Oh.
to your place. So even the actors, like, you go to your place. You don't just like hang around and mill around every single department. But what was cool about this is we went through the prop department, the costumes department, the weapons department, which is my
Oh,
favorite.
wow. Yes. I would love that.
And I can't remember what else we did. There was so many. Oh, the art department. And that was amazing. And then we obviously got to go into some of the sets. So there's the Lallybroch set. I was in Jamie's cave and in Boston. And I got to see Claire's new medicine box. So that was, well, that was in season.
Oh, that's nice.
Anyway. Oh, and I'll come to the next part when I was on set shortly. So that's Hopetoun. So Hopetoun, if you guys can all see my map, Hopetoun is just about here. So just where Edinburgh is, just a bit north of Edinburgh. You can actually see the bridges when you're at Edinburgh Castle. You can actually look down from if you're looking out towards the river, look over towards the left and you will see the top of the Forth Bridges, and that's basically where Hopetoun is. It's actually, you have to go under one of the bridges to access it. So that's that. Any other questions on Hopetoun?
No.
No, we're all good. Okay, so we're going to go to our next location, which is probably one of my favorites. In the winter time, it's part of our season normal, like Outlander tour, and that's Linlithgow Palace. And as I mentioned before, we go there, we know it's not used in season 1, it's used in season 2. Sorry, it's not used in season 2, it's used in season 1. And the reason for including it in our season 2 tour is because it's very close to Hopetoun, but it also leads on in the story. So as we know, what happens to Jamie is quite significant in the last episode of season 1, and that is at Linlithgow. So that then carries us on to season 2, which is why I include it. Although it's not really for any other reason, but it's a really amazing place to visit. It's one of Scotland's grandest palaces. It is the grandest palace in Scotland. And it's a royal palace. It's where Mary Queen of Scots was born, as was her father, James V of Scotland. So it's a really amazing place to visit. It also has a Jacobite connection in the sense that it burnt down. So it's a ruin now, and it's a ruin because in 1746, during the Jacobite campaign, the British camped there. So they were stationed, they stayed there, and they accidentally set it on fire. Accidentally. No, they were apparently they left their fires going. So it's been, and because it's a royal palace, unlike other castles and structures across anywhere really, because it's got a royal connection, people couldn't touch it. Whereas the other, I mean, there's a castle that was just down the road from where I am here, which there was almost nothing left of it by the 1820s because farmers were using it for their stones and whatever else. So they would just, chip away at it over time. So because it's a royal palace, they weren't allowed to touch it. So that's why it's pretty much left in almost the exact same state after it burnt down, which I think a lot of people will be like, I want to see it the way it was, whereas this is very much part of its history. So I like to see it how it is. I'm very different in that way.
Agreed.
In terms of the filming, and I'm going to show you a nice video clip in a minute, but in terms of the filming, it was Wentworth prison is Linlithgow, and it's the scenes where you have Claire. It's not the scenes where we see Jamie hanging. That was at another location which is in England. That's Carlisle Castle. So the whole bit where Black Jack rides through on the horse and stops Jamie getting hung right before he's getting to get hung, that was actually at Carlisle. And then when you're at Linlithgow, it's funny because whenever I take people there, I'm like, oh yeah, that's where Claire vomited. It's like, another strange thing you're going to tell people, isn't it, when you're on tour? It's one episode, like anything else. It's one episode. part of our tour Bible, I've just got the information about it. I have not done any screenshots of the filming, as you can imagine. It's not one that I have wanted to revisit. It's one episode I've only watched once, because I don't need to watch it more than that. I think we all kind of get the gist of what's happened.
Yeah.
And I don't think anyone really wants to delve into it too much. But
No.
it is, like I said, it's a very important site nonetheless. So I'm going to go ahead and share another video with you. And I'm just going to do a quick walkthrough. Once I go.
Okay. Sonny, behave.
Ooh, somebody's not happy.
Sonny.
Okay, here we go. So I'm just going to come back in and come back out, come back in. It's a very different way of doing tours, isn't it? Okay, so you can all see that, guys, I hope.
Yeah. Yes.
Awesome. So this is Linlithgow Palace, and this is the loch.
A drone.
A drone, exactly. I found this
Love
and I
it.
thought it's lovely. Now, I'm just going to pause it at different points, and I just want to quickly point out. So this is Linlithgow Loch. It's beautiful. You can walk when you go to the palace. Sometimes people have time. Some people have been there before, whether they've not been with me or they've gone themselves, or they're not that interested in going inside. They do like to take a walk around the loch, so it's all up to yourself. But it is a lovely walk if the weather's nice. I was last there. We were last there just the day before it closed because of lockdown. So we were on our last ever Outlander tour there just the day before it closed.
Wow.
So I'm like all nostalgic, and I've not been there for like 2 months. But anyway, so the loch itself is it's a natural loch. It's not man-made, and it sits in an old basin, and it has had some sort of fortification for at least 2,000 years. There used to be a crannog in the loch, so you can go see there's got some great information about it inside the palace. If you go speak to Frances, she's a wonderful member of staff at Linlithgow. She knows pretty much everything about it, and she can go into that. But there's quite a few about 5 minutes away from the palace. You can go to old burial cairns and standing stones not too far away, and it's at the top of a hill. And you can actually see all the way to the west coast of Scotland and to the east coast. So it's a really special place. It's amazing.
God.
I've not been out on tour because you do need a clear day. Otherwise, it's a bit of a wasted trip if people aren't that mobile, which I've not had on my tour to get up there. You do need to be able to walk, but it is an impressive sight. But anyway, so there's been something on the loch for all that time. And this is about 15 minutes away from, where were we? Blackness Castle or Queen's Ferry at Hopetoun. So there's a nice view. Isn't it lovely?
Beautiful.
So this is a ruin. This is the church that sits right next door to it. The church is contemporary with the palace. It's called St. Michael's. This is fairly new though. The spire, but the church itself is where they also believe Mary Queen of Scots was baptized. And
The new spire, how old is that? What year maybe?
That would be about 30. Yes, so they're 40 years. 40 years, yeah. So the palace itself is from the early part of the 1400s. So that was built by James the First of Scotland. So this is contemporary with that, although it has changed obviously over the centuries, as has the palace since he originally built it. This actually on this side was the original entrance over there, they believe they've just been doing new work on it. I've been chatting away to them every single time I've been there recently. They've not published it yet, but they do believe that certain parts of the castle walls are from the original structure which was there before the palace, which was some sort of castle or some sort of peel, like a tower castle, which this area had been fortified since Edward I was in Scotland. So this is Robert the Bruce and William Wallace, but they knocked that all down and built this palace. Oh, knocked most of it down, I should say. We're going to find more about that. I don't know all the ins and outs until they publish their full report, but that's coming from the staff inside. Wow. Isn't it lovely?
Yes.
And I've got some lovely pictures, so don't worry, we're not necessarily going to go inside. So just nice drone footage. And this is where we walk down. So just here, oops, just here, you can just about make out where my mouse is. That's where Claire was sick. Just over there. And this just takes you down into the town. Now I'm just going to give a wee shout out to our friends who we love very much, two establishments that we tend to have lunch when we're in Linlithgow, and that's over here, the Coffee Nook, and over here, the Strawberry Cafe. So they're, I know that they've been doing a lot at the moment and feeling very sad that they're shut. But there you go. So it's a lovely church. It obviously started its life as a, here we go. It started its life as Catholic place of worship. And just over here, when you go inside it, you can see they've got volunteers who run it, church members. And they've got a nice little sort of map thing that takes you around, and you can see different points of interest. And just over here, just over here, there would have been, there was a leper window. So if you go in there, look for the leper window. It's
what kind of window?
A leper window. So people who have leprosy
got it.
would have to stand outside, yeah.
Oh.
So it's, obviously.
Kind of like now.
That's how they would go inside. I know. Well, it was funny because just before, because we were talking about coronavirus last time I was in, and they actually got like little hand gels in, and they started giving, they used to have laminated maps. They started giving out individual pieces of paper so that people weren't contaminating things. But I knew they're run by a predominantly elderly congregation, so I thought they're probably going to be shutting soon.
That grass
so
looks like
let's see.
Oh, those shots are beautiful.
Aren't they lovely? They're not mine.
Yeah.
Go and look at Epic Drone clips. I'm just giving them a shout out because I'm using their stuff. But no, I'm just going to pause this here. So as you come in, this is the new entrance. This is the old entrance. This is the new entrance. Or wait a minute. This is the old entrance. Sorry. This is the old entrance. I always get myself confuddled because
like that word.
The thing about Linlithgow Palace is that it looks the same. I still get lost inside sometimes. If they close off a stairwell and I have to go a different way, I can get lost because every room looks the same. Every tower looks the same. You come back to the middle going, which way was which? Hold on a minute. So let me just get my bearings here. So this is what we would call Margaret's Bower. And it's called that because this is where James IV's wife climbed to the top here. Apparently, this is in the, obviously, anecdotal hearsay. When her husband, James IV, went to the Battle of Flodden, and sadly, that's where he died. He's never come back to Scotland. He's probably under a car park as well somewhere. But come up here. Apparently, she was looking out here for her husband. And there's a little nook. You can actually go inside here. And she was looking out towards England. But the problem is she was looking in completely the wrong direction. So I doubt the story is true. But it's, that's what it's been passed down the ages as Margaret's Bower. And that's what it's referred to as. This here is the old entrance over here. So this is the older section. And if you go through here, you can actually see there's an old jail, like a hole and an old guard room over here. and there's the stairs. So there used to be some sort of steps that would take you up here, and this is the Great Hall. Now the Great Hall is magnificent, so it's lovely, and it's kind of got representations of James the Fourth's court, so the chap who died at Flodden. He did quite a lot of changes to the building, and it's where his son was obviously born, and Margaret was hanging here. So Margaret, his wife, was Margaret Tudor, Henry VIII's wife. So a wife, what am I talking about? Henry VIII's sister. He had that many wives, I'm getting myself muddled. No, it was his sister. But anyway, so that's that. Just in the center here, and I'll show you some pictures in a moment. You might get a better shot in the drone footage in a minute. This is the famous fountain that sits in the middle. That was built or organized by James V of Scotland as a wedding gift for his new bride, Mary de Guise. And it actually looks like it's supposed to represent a wedding cake. So you'll see that shortly. And this is obviously, it's a fabulous palace. Imagine being the same place that Mary, Queen of Scots was born, guys. I mean, this is like history.
Amazing. That's unbelievable.
You won't know exactly where that is, though, because they would never have said, oh, she was born in that room, because that would have been dangerous for a new queen or a new baby. Because remember, her father wasn't here. Her father was over in Falkland Palace at the time, and he died 6 days later, the ripe old age of 30. But this section as well, a lot was organised and fixed up by her son, James VI of Scotland. So you'll see a lot of I-R-6. So I, there's no J in the Latin alphabet, so that I represents J, R, Rex for king, and 6, James VI. You'll see that on a lot of the windows here. And this here was fixed up in 1620, and I find that really interesting. But what happened was, because James VI left Scotland in 1603, nobody was really staying in the palace, and this needed a wee bit of work. So he came up to Scotland only once after he went to England, and he came here and he saw that the palace needed a wee bit of a refurb, and some of this stonework was falling to bits. So he commissioned it to be fixed up. And that's why it says 1620. Just a random fact there for you, any history buffs that are listening. That
I love it.
No, I do too. Where's the roof?
That's what burnt down.
Oh.
So the square would have always been open. The central area would have always been open, but the roof on the sides was on the walls was burnt down. Yeah. So these are just some of the houses. Okay, so we're going to go inside the palace. There's that there. This is the famous fountain. They love that church. We've got the same shot about 50 times. And there we go. It's just got, that might be my vehicle over there. Maybe I was there that day. But there you go. So you got some nice quick shots going over. And I might finish this now. Yeah, so I'm just going to stop that, and I'm going to just show you quickly my pictures of Linlithgow. Just bear with me 1 wee second. Here we go. So I've just closed it.
Take your time.
Catriona, honestly.
Just take your time. We're all here.
I know. It's technology. Technology is sometimes not my friend. Oh, trip.
Me too.
In the wrong bit. Where's my trip pictures? Here we go. I'm in the right place now. So, where's Linlithgow? Linlithgow. I did have it open, guys, but I've clearly accidentally closed it.
Okay.
As you do.
Talk among yourselves.
I've got so many photographs. Okay, so I'm just going to quickly take you through our pictures, and then we will Do that again. Share. Okay. Ta-da!
Yay!
Yay! So here, this is inside the Great Hall. So I told you it was pretty magnificent.
Wow.
And whoever was there that day, it was a very wet, rainy day because you can see the floor's all wet. But there would have been, you can see there would have been some sort of structure here and here. You've got the windows and the partitions.
Yeah.
So there would have been probably like a viewing, almost like not a viewing platform, but like an upper corridor. So it wouldn't have been a whole floor, but like an upper corridor which you could look down.
Huge.
It's massive. It's massive.
Yeah.
And I love these. I love the fireplace. I just think it's beautiful.
Oh, wow.
So this here is
The fountain.
inside the fountain. Now the fountain was in bad shape. It was recently refurbished, like within the past 10 years. And because it's made of sandstone, you can imagine. So you can see it's got the 3 tiers. So at the top is the church. You can see just about make out the cross there. Then you've got the crown, and then you've got random little things. You've got unicorns, you've got weird griffins and all sorts of things down the side.
Can you go up there?
Yes, this is where we took the picture. This is up.
Wow.
You know when I was saying we go up on the roof? This is up on the roof.
That is it. Okay.
Oh, now we're inside the church. Randomly. So we do, like I say, we do like to promote our guests to go in. It's no admission to go inside, but they do ask for a wee donation, you know, if you've got anything. And this is the beautiful stained glass.
Wow.
Mainly 19th century. Oh, and here we go. This is one of the wee corridors inside the palace again. So we're now back inside the palace. No smoking. And they've got these wee bits that they've found, little bits of pipes, like ivory pipes and bits of pottery and things that they've found when doing work there. Now we're back in the church.
Back in the church.
Back in St. Michael's. There's no order here, guys, because as I said, but this is beautiful. And this is just the entrance. And when you walk in, you can actually see there's like marks all in the stonework here. And that's because Oliver Cromwell came here and used the church as a stables, as he did with many churches across Scotland. And some of his men used the walls for target practice. So you've actually got chips in the wall. So the walls do have a story here. It's that lovely spire here. So you can just make out the unicorn here, but also where the water's supposed to come out. The spout. Now, famously, apparently, when Bonnie Prince Charlie, he obviously came here before the British did. And when he came here, he famously had wine pouring from the fountain.
Oh my God.
So it would have been pretty fancy. Putting on a bit
grand
of a show.
idea.
Here's another, I like that idea. We've got another spout here. And look, a weird deer with wings.
Beautiful.
All mythical creatures. And this is outside. Oh, look, we were there when it was snowing. We go all year.
There's
all
snow.
year. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? This was taken by one of our guides last year from the other side of the loch towards it, and he did it all black and white to be fancy.
That's beautiful.
That's beautiful.
And this is, I think this is Helmut's handiwork, because Helmut gets all kind of artsy, whereas I just take a picture like, snap, this one.
Oh yeah, that's
Yes, Helmut. And that's us back to the beginning again. So I'm just going to stop that.
I want to go there.
Any questions about Linlithgow before we move on?
I have a question. Were the inside the walls, were they ever painted back in the day when they lived there, or did the walls look like? Yeah,
absolutely. So as what you see a lot of the old Scottish castles today is exposed, because they've been exposed to the weather for so long. But they would have had some sort of rendering. So you would have like horsehair and different paints and whatever would have been compacted on top of that. So it would have been pretty. So if you've been to like Stirling Castle, they give you an idea. When you go into the Stirling Castle Palace, they give you a really good idea of what that would have looked like. It would have also had some wood paneling over the years as well. Again, that stuff tends to rot away over time. And remember, especially with the royal palaces, they have seen better days, even when the monarchy was still, you know, James VI, he came up to Linlithgow to have part of it fixed because it kind of started to get a little bit shabby in his absence. And that he was the last king to live in Scotland. So ever since, we've not had anybody there. So there you go. Any other questions, Linlithgow?
That car park outside it, is that private or can you?
No,
park
you can go. They do. It's so the car park. If you're going up to Linlithgow, which you might, because you're here, Nicole. If you go up to Linlithgow Palace, you just drive through the art. There's just one gate. You drive through the gate, it takes you into their car park, and it's only for people who are looking to visit the palace. But it doesn't cost anything to park there. If you didn't want to go into the palace but wanted to go to Linlithgow, if you just before the palace, you just come up, before you go up the street, there's a turn left and there's a car park there for people, but that one is paid. But that's if you want to do shopping and stuff like that. I've had to go there a few times.
Had to.
Any other questions, folks? No, we all good?
Amazing place.
Awesome. Okay. It is amazing. So as I said, Linlithgow is only 10, 15 minutes from Hopetoun, depending on the traffic. Oh, there we go. So let's go to our next location, which we don't spend very much time here. So this is going to be a pretty quick visit. And the main reason for it is it's a pretty quick visit on tour. And that is at Callander House. Now, Callander House sits in Falkirk, and it's kind of close enough to Linlithgow to visit very quickly, and because it features in season 2. Now, they used the Georgian kitchen of Callander House as the place where in season 2 where the Duke of Sandringham was then staying and brings Claire, and it's also where Murta then cuts his head off.
Oh. One of my favorite moments.
One of my favorite moments too. And I've got a wee story about that. So when I was on the studio tour, one of the ladies who was with me was already 80 and she'd never watched Outlander. She didn't really care for it. It was we were there for a friend. So imagine wasting a studio tour and somebody doesn't even like Outlander. But anyway,
that's a sin.
She still enjoyed herself. But we were in the props department and the chap, I mean, this guy obviously doesn't get much company because he was like, hey guys, come see this. And then as we were trying to get away from him, he's like chasing us, like, come, wait. I need to show you. Look at this, is a cigarette. Look. He's showing us all his prop cigarettes. But he showed us Claire's medicine kit and he was showing us how he makes the needles. So they're just like, they're on a spring. So they just go in. So it looks like they're doing something. But then his colleague ran down with his big box, like just looks like a box of rubbish. And he brings it down and he goes, oh, look at that. And I looked inside. I said, don't show her because she'd not even watched it. And that's so realistic. It was the Duke of Sandringham's head, guys.
Yeah.
Oh.
So they took the model of Simon Cowell's face and I held it in my hands. And they had 3 gashes on the back of his neck, just on this little prop head that you only see for like a split second. But it was like one of my favorite moments holding his head. Persona, she was like, I was like, don't show her, like let her know what we're going to show her because, you know, you're just going to show her somebody's head. Like, give her a heart attack. Exactly. Anyway. So
Simon Cowell took that head home with him, did he not? He said that was one thing he wanted, Simon Cowell.
Yes. He never got it. It's still there. Still there somewhere in the prop department. Well, maybe he's got it now, I don't know, but certainly when they were already filming season 3, he didn't have it yet.
Okay.
But the thing that the other thing about Callander House is that it's set up by the Falkirk Trust. So across, and I'm sure this will be the same in the States as well, you've got different museums which are open to the public in old buildings or older buildings. So it's like a community museum / hub for the people of Falkirk. So when you go, they've got different rooms that they've got for kids, but they do have a nice tea room as well. So one of our guides last year loved to take the guests there instead of Hopetoun. You know, I was saying Hopetoun was having problems with what they were going to do, whether it was canteen or not. So they would go there. So that's a popular activity if you go to Callander House. But the most important thing is to go to their Georgian kitchen. Now, it's a free entrance. We tend to stop in there quickly, and some people might want to use the bathroom, maybe look around the shop, but there's not much to actually do in terms of an actual visit. So we go there very quickly. Yeah, we go into the kitchen. So I'm going to show you just a quick picture of some of our guests, and then I'm going to show you inside the Georgian kitchen, but I'm just going to speed it up. I'm not going to play the whole thing, but it's organized by the trust themselves. So you can, in your own time, go and have a little look if you want. Now let's get it up. My Georgian kitchen picture. Now this is something that they also have now, so I'm not going to spoil the surprise. Oh, I've already got it. It's fine, I've already got it up. Okay, so this is from our Instagram feed, guys. And as you can see, it's inside the kitchen. This is where the Duke loses his head. And you can just make out, they give you a mask. They give you masks that you can put on for a bit of fun.
It's hilarious.
It is just, there's usually, in fact, in saying that, the last couple of times I was there, I don't know if there was a problem with staffing or what it was, but they didn't have anyone inside the last couple of visits I made there. But when you go inside, there's usually somebody dressed in 18th century domestic servant sort of clothing in the kitchen, explaining to you what it would have been like and things like that. But this is pretty much original, and I'm going to quickly show you a nice bit of footage quickly inside. I do have so many pictures, but like I said, I didn't want to take too much time. And let's go back to. Here we are. It's just I have to go in and maybe if I use the right link. I'm wondering what's happening now. Okay, so there we go. So I'm just going to put this on pause. Come back in and share. So I might actually put the sound on for this one, guys. You can have a wee listen in. This is a bit about the history of the site. And if you're interested in going there, you want to get the history side of things, because it was just really his head being cut off.
Presentation.
So can everyone hear this okay?
Yeah.
Good morning. Welcome to the kitchen here in Callander House.
You'll see
We're
that?
very busy today. Mrs. Forbes is having a dinner party this evening. Do you know, she's trying to gain favour from the old gentry. You see, they didn't want her husband to buy this house, and she's trying to make a good impression.
Awesome. So this is a bit about the house, so you can see what you see.
What's the bill of fare for this evening's dinner?
It starts at 7 prompt. The first course, well, we're starting off with green split pea soup, canapes, tureen of chicken and potted venison.
That sounds delicious.
Well, Well, it'll be followed by a whole fish and pastry, oysters in sauce, spit roasted leg of lamb, that's if it's ever finished, and the pressed cutlet, steamed vegetables, and of course, salmagundy.
Salmagundy is one of my favourites.
I'm responsible for this grand kitchen. I have to keep the staff in order, and I have to do all the menus and the planning of the meals, and I have to buy directly and keep account of all the food that goes through this kitchen.
This is my second post as a housekeeper, and I've never been asked to carry out such menial tasks. My job is supervising these housemaids, making sure they set the fires, empty the chamber pots, repair the linen, and of course I report directly to Mistress Forbes.
There are those here in Callander House who just don't know how lucky they are. A bread oven that would grace a baker's shop. And what do? They moan and complain. When we were girls, hearth death was still a common occurrence. If the fire didn't roast you, the smoke choked you. They've even got their own sleeping quarters, and they don't need to be sleeping under tables in any of these kitchens.
Not as we did. Do you think the kitchen maid will be well enough to serve tomorrow?
Well, I sincerely hope so, because, you know, the lady's maid, she's been caught fraternising with the stable hands, and I'll tell you, I'll have none of that carry on here in the kitchen.
Well, Agnes, if there's nothing else I can do for you, I think I'd better get back upstairs.
Bella, I don't know how to thank you today. I would never have got through all of this work without your help.
Oh, Agnes, that's no problem.
To explore the rich variety of museums.
There we go. Wow. Wasn't that cute?
Yeah. Yes.
So that just gives you an idea. When you go in, it's usually somebody dressed like that who explains how the kitchen was. So it's just a nice, usually 10-minute stop, 10-15-minute stop, and then we make our way to the pièce de résistance for any French speakers, and that is to go to the gardens of Versailles, which is Drummond Castle Gardens. Now, I'm just going to put this on a map quick. So we were just about here-ish at Falkirk, okay? Now we're going to make our way up to about here-ish, okay? So it's about a 50-minute journey. But by this point, everybody's had their lunch. Everybody's been, they want to have a wee bit of music in the vehicle and have a wee sleep.
Oh,
but the countryside along that trip is absolutely magic. Perthshire's one of my favourite areas. We drive through a couple of quaint little villages, Mutt Hill being one of them, or Muthel, as local people call it, but I'm not local, so I just say it how it looks. Mutt Hill, and we make our way to Drummond. Now, the reason why I love going to Drummond Castle, you can't visit the castle itself. Apparently, they opened the house twice in the past to see if it would work, and both occasions some stuff got stolen.
Oh.
So they decided not to do it again. That's the story that I heard from some of the staff there. So the house itself is not open to the public, but the gardens are, okay? So I'm just going to share my screen with you guys and show you the wonderful, if I just open the right one here. I want to show you the wonderful gardens now at Drummond, just to give you a bit of history. Now, I've had to notify them of a few historical indiscrepancies that they had on their booklet that they were selling, because I noticed that they got a few dates wrong. and I went to them and I went, here you go, you need to fix this. But the reason why I love Drummond so much is because it is the site, the location of an actual Jacobite. Okay, this was a Jacobite's home, his main residence during the rising of 1745 and 1746. So this is why amazing for me to visit. So we've got just a brief bit of history here, but I can't tell you if any of it's accurate. What I can say is it is an actual Jacobite, and when he was captured, obviously after Culloden, he was a very open supporter of Prince Charlie, and his mother was still living here. And after the rising, do you know that this woman bunkered herself up in this castle, properly fortified it, and basically held the castle against the British for a couple of days.
Wow.
By herself. She was that adamant on her beliefs and what she wanted that she, you know, quite a woman. It then became a barracks, as most places did, for the military, of nearly 400 of them, to subdue the Scottish natives from the borders of Scotland up into the Highlands. 400 camps after Culloden were set up. But this one was one of them. But the gardens itself, a lot of 17th, 18th century gardens, and they are absolutely spectacular, and you'll recognize them as being Versailles. Okay, so I actually have a little video now. This is one little bit of footage I was going to show you, because it's one of my favorite places. You can only visit the garden, and for some reason, every single time I visit and bring my group here, the weather is glorious, or it's usually dry, so I've not ever had a problem. And while my group explore the gardens, I tend to get myself an ice cream and sit on one of the benches at the top and look down on the beautiful gardens. So I'm going to take you on a wee walk. I'm just going to stop sharing this, and I'm going to go over here. Now, this is, sadly, I found this on my private Facebook page, so you can't access it unless you're my friend on Facebook, but you'll see it on this just now. So I'm going to share with you my little trip. This was, I think I did this 8 months ago, apparently. Okay, so can everybody see that?
Yes.
Again, I told you I wasn't very good at filming, but I'm going to leave the sound on for this. So you're going to listen to me for 6 minutes. We're not too far, and then you can actually hear me, because I'm going to talk about it as we go around. So enjoy yourselves. If you can't hear me, let me know on this.
Hi guys, just did this on Instagram, but it's not quite this. I just thought I would ask you all, where do you think I am? I'm just going to go really slowly. This is obviously very, very, very slowly. Very, very slowly.
And I usually talk and sing to myself because I'm by myself. And this time I always sing to myself, such a weird moment. That's the castle that you see up there.
I just love it here. There's my
beautiful.
My 3 Mexicans just down there.
I forgot I had Mexicans.
I have no idea I'm recording them.
It's a lovely mother and 2 daughters.
I'm just going to tell you where I am. I'm currently at Drummond Castle Gardens, so I'm near Crieff, which is in Perthshire.
Hear the good old Scottish wind. I'm hoping that you're getting the atmosphere here.
They found the gardens for Versailles in Outlander. Just right in the centre there, you can make out that lovely sundial.
Yeah.
That's just recently been refurbished, and that's the sundial in the show, but it only just got finished. This is the first time I'm actually seeing it. I've not been here for a couple of months. I'm just going to bring you up past the castle. And then next here is the castle, and the Drummond family were staunch Jacobins, and they lost a lot thanks to their support of Bonnie Prince Charlie. And I'm just going to walk to the car park with you.
This is when I was still a smoker, folks. I was going for my quick secret cigarette, but I have now quit, so it's all good.
Come on.
Adults. I love that. It's the one place they actually write super adult for concession.
So if you didn't hear me there, when you go to Drummond's, their entrance for seniors is called Super Adults.
Yay!
So, yay! You're a super adult if you're over 60.
Love it.
Yay!
Here's another fantastic viewpoint. Look at this. Somebody's mowing the lawn.
Going that way.
As you do.
And basically, I'm going to the car. So
I was actually eating sweeties. There we go.
I can get my money so I can have an ice cream. It's like a ritual. I think I'm good for Drummond Castle because I've never seen it in the rain. So I always have like a wee ice cream, which is quite nice. Hi, honey. Oh, and there's a bus tour just turned up. So I'm going to try and avoid that. And it's really sunny. Really, really, really sunny. Okay, isn't this lovely? Let me just turn it back round.
Look at those beautiful trees, guys. I just love the whole atmosphere. It's just so nice. I just feel really relaxed. It's one of those places you just feel really relaxed. And there was somebody cleaning his bus, I think, when I was coming down here. He was like cleaning the outside of his bus. He had a full group of folks from, I think they were German, or they were foreign anyway.
And there we go.
There we go.
There we go.
I was in the Ford that day. So you can see the connection's not that great.
Basically, me walking back to the car park. So I've done this tour back to front, but I did take my group down to the garden first. Yeah, and I did all my.
I think I get into the vehicle. You actually see me getting in.
And this is the one.
There's the car there.
Get in.
Slange bus. Well, there you go, folks. So that's Drummond. Back to the vehicle. Look. See if I found my keys. And there you go. Now you've got to be inside my vehicle too tonight.
So
there you have it. So I'm just going to stop that now. Let me just see. Oh, Tracy's away. She'll come back again. So one more video of Drummond before we go. And it's a slightly better one than mine, but I just wanted to give you a sense of my tour and my bad banter.
No, it was great.
I do these things so often because I'm alone, you see, so I have no one no one to talk to by that point. My guests are usually fed up with me by that point, so they're like, we need some peace from Catriona because she's not stopped talking, and then I find somebody else to talk to. So we're live. So I'm just going to share this video with you very quickly, and I just love this. So this is a really lovely, again guys, this is not mine. I'm going to turn the sound off on this one though, and you can get a nice sense.
Oh wow.
God,
this is the other. We don't usually come down this driveway, but sometimes we come out of it, because we usually go in the coach entrance, because you can see you couldn't bring a coach through this, but it's absolutely stunning. So you can see
really
as we're coming through.
Wow.
Wow.
Yes, sorry.
That line of trees we were going through, is that the same part of the journey that Jamie and Wee Fergus on their way to mess up the port?
Yes, correct.
Yeah, okay, it
yes.
looked familiar.
Absolutely, yes. Well done. Oh, they've also got sequoia trees in here. Helmut was just reminding me to say big sequoia trees.
Ah,
a sequoia tree.
Really?
Yes, they do. Yeah.
Huh.
Wow.
So again, another bit of drone footage, obviously for themselves. But look at that. And
Wow.
I should have mentioned, I haven't mentioned it yet, but there are, usually you'll see their resident peacocks in here as well. They do have peacocks running around, which you can sometimes see.
you can hear them before you see them.
Yes, you can. It's funny because at the Blair Castle, there's another castle which I love called Blair Castle, and they've got a peacock, but he's kind of pulled out half his feathers. But this will give you a sense of the Outlander location, because you can remember these steps, guys. So this is taken from the other angle. This is the steps you see from the famous magazine, with they're all in their French costume. Claire's wearing that lovely, beautiful red dress, and Jamie's like holding her hand. And the I think it was Vanity
Beautiful.
Fair, wasn't it? There's that. So this is it. So this is a fairly recent one, actually, or it's either old or recent. Because this is what I was mentioning before. In a lot of our pictures, if you see some of our past Instagram or Facebook pictures, they had a plant pot in the middle here with some weird green hedgy plant thing coming out of it, because this was getting repaired. So this is original from the 17th century. It's a sundial, and this was used, and this was there when they did the filming. So a lot of people were looking for it for like 3 years that we've been visiting, but it only got put back in August last year, so August 2019.
Wow.
That is stunning,
isn't it?
It is stunning.
My favorite. It's easily one of my favorite places.
These trees look like they're purple.
They do, don't they? They don't look like that normally. It must be some sort of filter they've got on it.
Yeah, that's
they're
amazing.
like
That's awesome. Oh my God.
You can go through the back. So you can spend the
wow.
Oh.
Thing about visiting Drummond is that it only opens at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and it closes at 6 o'clock. So the last admission is at 5 o'clock. So that's why we do it in this order. Some people always ask us, it's because we've only really got the afternoon to visit, which is why we get there. We usually get there for about 3:30. So we've got a good hour and a half there before 5 o'clock. I like to leave by about 5.
It's not enough time.
No, it's not. If you could spend the whole day,
yeah,
I would say you've only got half a day anyway, but you could spend a good the full half of that there. We have taken private groups here as well, but we do leave an hour and a half here, and then we make our way back.
God.
Wow.
Edinburgh.
Oh, that's gorgeous.
Who takes care of all of that?
Oh, they're masters.
Masters, absolutely. You see a lot of them working. They've got a lot of like students, like garden student people, like
Unreal. Wow.
I don't know what you call them. People who are studying horticulturists.
Horticulturist, yeah.
Yeah, so they're studying, so they tend to love to go here. As you can imagine, if you've got that on your CV, you're pretty much set for life.
All kind of doors will open. Yep. Jeez.
Stunning. So you can walk all the way. So I've done this. I mean, I think I've had to look for my guests in here before because they were missing. So I literally ran the whole thing.
Oh, wow.
As you can imagine. Sometimes you see they do allow dogs. So some people bring their dogs to visit.
Really?
You know, and I'm usually sitting just here. This is where I sit. That's my my wee spot for my ice cream. So I don't know. I'm really missing it now because it would have just opened to the public. It's only open in the summer months, but there you have it. And I've got some funny pictures.
Amazing.
Stop that just before we finish.
Just beautiful.
One of my utter favorite places. So we're just gonna come back in to my desktop. Outlander season 2. Here we go. There's actually a funny picture of me, and I might actually see it back on the Facebook. One of my lovely guests had posted it. We went a couple of years ago, and I asked people to send pictures of us together, and I posted them all in a special album. Let me just come back into it. And we had, on that particular day, we had Claire and Jamie masks. So we did all of the pictures, as you could imagine. So let me just come back. Okay, photos, here we go. So I've got a special album. Here we go. So sorry guys, it's just, I wanted to show you something a little different from just what you've just seen. Here we are. This is not the picture, but did all sorts of acting on this particular day. So there's me and my These are my 3 guests. And on this particular day, we did a private tour, and they wanted to fit in as much as they could in one day. So we did Drummond Gardens, we did the church at Tivermore Church, which is where they had the witch trials. We did, oh gosh, I think we did Linlithgow Palace maybe, and we did the Glencorse Kirk where Claire and Jamie get married.
Oh.
So we did all of that in one day. That was a private day. It was a very long day. I think we finished that day about 9 o'clock at night. But I know this one. She's a troublemaker, this one over here. She's about 6 of my tours. That's Laura.
She's a troublemaker.
She's a troublemaker. So that's pretty much it. But that gives you a good sense of the tour, I think. And if you have any questions about Drummond, that's what I'm here for. Anyone got anything?
I do.
Yes, Frank.
Were any indoor scenes shot there for Outlander?
No.
No.
None.
So when they were in that building, what was that building when they were playing chess?
When so you're talking about when they were
at Versailles.
At Versailles. Yes, so that was on set. So see if you go to their set, it's phenomenal. They've got a 2-story set. when you go past the Outlander studios, you actually get to see there's like a taller part of the building. That's where they built these literally two massive story sets. And what they did, and I've only seen this because when I was there for season 3 and they made it Boston, they've got this massive wall and they superimpose the biggest picture you could ever imagine, life-size, life scale image on the wall. So when they're looking outside, it looks like you're looking at the Versailles Gardens. Do you know what I mean? So they did the same thing for Boston. So when you're looking out of the window, nothing's there. It's just a massive picture of a Glasgow street. Because obviously they filmed that in Glasgow. It's multiple buildings and the full size, full height. So it was phenomenal work that those guys do.
DCI is amazing.
Oh, it's fantastic. And it's just like enough to make it look real. Do you know what I mean? Just enough, because you're not really paying attention to that part. But yeah, it's everything else was done on set, and that's the balcony that you see in the inside room. Most of this stuff that you will see is filmed on set, inside Lallybroch, inside Jamie's Cave, although they do have locations for this. Inside the print shop, they've got the outside. When you go inside, it's inside something else. And that's because they've got a lot more control over it. They did use more, they used Gosford House for some of the filming in season 3. And again, Hopetoun House, they used the insides for that. But the majority of every other inside scene is filmed on set.
Wow. Fantastic.
Their set design has always fascinated me. It's just so elaborate and apparently authentic.
Oh yeah, he does, like Gary, John Gary Steele. Is it John Gary Steele? I'm like,
yes,
not making up that name.
It is, yeah.
Just like name came to me there. No, John, I went into the art department, and what they have there is the art department work closely with locations. So when locations go out, they obviously have a couple of different places. They speak to obviously different historical bodies on the telephone. They'll say, oh, we've got this place, we've got that place. They then go out and scout it. And before they do that, John will have drawn or illustrated a sort of conceptual idea of what he's looking for. And that will have come from obviously direction and production. So there's this big chain just for the small little sketch that comes out from the art department that John then builds on a scale. Wow. So everything you see is then built to scale on a table in the middle. And you've got this amazing group of artists who sit round. And when we went into their room, it was the weirdest one because they were the kind of more weirded out by us being there, because they were like, you're drawing a picture, like why? It's just the amount of talent these people have. And then to see their scale models on the in the center is just amazing to see what Gary does. And then that then feeds into the costumes. So when they're doing the costumes, obviously that was Terry before, and they've got a wonderful costume department. They're very much involved. And they've got everything from your tailors to your female department. And they all sit there. You've got embroiderers, you've got everything that comes from the drawings. Then they've got this really weird room. And that was kind of, I think that was the last place we went on tour. And it's basically a bunch of girls with like literally gumboots on, dungarees, hair tied up, torches, blow torches, basins full of bleach and all sorts. And what they do is they stress the items. So their job is to stress it. I'm not that way inclined. When I heard about that, I was like, really? They just like batter things and do all sorts of things. They've also got a lot of, especially for the 1940s, 60s, and 70s, they've got a lot of vintage clothing which they bring in. So they've got that all. So that's the stuff I wore. I wore vintage clothing when I was filming. It kind of smelt vintage as well, to be fair, because I filmed the famous scene in season 2 with Galis or Gillian with the Scotland scene. That was me. I was standing right next to Diana. And I was wearing a lovely silk sort of blouse with a weird cardigan and a skirt. And I had a handbag as well, a kind of leather handbag. And then I was used, again, coming into the university, I have a lovely kind of fur coat. And then I'm, again, when Claire goes to Inverness to get her, the deeds for Lallybroch, and I'm walking around her car with a lovely fur coat on. And that was probably the most interesting filming day because it was in Falkland. So I left my house. I got up at 3 o'clock in the morning. The call time was 5 o'clock in the morning. It was winter time, so it was pitch black. I went down the wrong road because it was all black and dark and there was snow everywhere. I went down a cycle path in my car.
Oh.
It was a normal road, but like it was mainly not a road.
Oh.
And I got there on time. It was all good. But I filmed, and that day was good because when I was in the university, the girls who were doing our hair and makeup, they didn't give us any real, like they did our makeup, but they didn't really do anything kind of 60s. And I was like, come on, where's my flicks in that? Like 1960s young woman, I want my flicks. So then I had another guy who did my makeup in Falkland, a male heterosexual, guys. He was not homosexual, which is usually the case in these places, and I've had a few of them. My husband in the filming for that was a homosexual man from Port Glasgow, Nicole. We were filming season 2. But he gave me flicks, and I was like, you are the best. But it was so cold, and we were right in a wind tunnel with snow. I was a featured. I didn't really know what featured meant at the time, but they used me for a lot of the stills for this filming, so I got paid more, which was nice. But it was that cold, I had to use my hands to shield my face from the wind. And the makeup girls were standing across the road, so the camera's facing towards me, and they're standing behind it, and they were like this. Because my hair, they kind of like obviously backcombed it to hell and back, so I had this kind of bouffon-y 60s style. And it kept blowing out.
Oh.
So eventually the girls weren't doing it well enough, so I got Catriona's hairstylist. She came and did my hair, and she's like, oh, we need to do you because you're a featured. And that's the only time I knew I was featured, so I never knew after that. So that was nice. And then I filmed for season 4, but I'll bring that up in another tour. So any questions about anything discussed tonight before we finish up?
I have a question.
Yes, Ruth.
Your Drummond Castle is in Perthshire. Is there a way to find out where in Perthshire Malcolm Canmore was born? Because I haven't been able to locate exactly where.
Let me just have a quick look.
It's Malcolm Canmore.
Malcolm who?
Malcolm III, King of England, King of Scotland.
King of Scotland. So Malcolm.
His father was Duncan of Macbeth fame.
Yeah, it doesn't actually.
It just said he was born in Perthshire. And I just wondered if there was a historical location for that.
Let me just have a quick look. No, we don't really know, but we know he was the first king of Dunkeld.
Yeah.
So Dunkeld is a location in Canmore, in Perthshire, sorry.
Mm-hmm.
So you probably have to go to Dunkeld, which is about 10. Well, it's about 10 minutes away from Pitlochry. Jenny has just quickly asked, where is the studio? The Outlander studio is about 10 miles north of Glasgow at a place called Cumbernauld. And it takes about 20 minutes to get there from Glasgow. usually because of the traffic. But it's not too far. It's only 10 miles. Any other questions?
It's very good. Enjoyed it.
Did you enjoy that?
Yeah.
Very much.
Before we go, and I do this all the time, I'm going to put on my season 2. Okay, so I'm going to share this, and we're going to finish up with a wee sing song.
Me a song of a lass that is gone, say could that lass be I? Mary of soul, she sailed on a day over the sea to sky. Billow and breeze, islands and seas, mountains of grain and sun. All that was good, all that was fair, all that was deep is gone. Sing me a song of a lass that is gone, say could that lass be I? Mary of soul, she sailed on a day over the sea to sky.
There we go, folks. So that was it. So I will be doing our day 3. It's not season 3 Outlander tour. It's a day 3 Outlander tour, and it's called our Jacobites and Highlands Discovery Tour. So that will be taking place again 11 o'clock next week. Ooh. And on that one, we're going to be doing Culloden and more about the Jacobites. So that's why I haven't gone too much into the history of season 2. I'll do more of that in that one. So we'll go into the full Jacobite rising. What I focus on tonight is the kind of more history about each individual site, whereas the ones that we're going to be doing next week are going to be relating to the Jacobites. So we'll do that, and then if you've got an interest, so I'm going to use more of that music. So I didn't go into any of the lovely Gaelic singing there. I'll be sharing that with you guys next week for our Culloden special. Culloden special. It's like something you don't often say. A special Culloden. And the reason Culloden's really good for us because, again, just like Hopetoun, we do spend a good 2.5 hours there. So I'll be going a lot into Culloden and the history about it. So hope to see you there. If not,
we'll be there. I'll be there.
I should also say that before we go, the schedule is now live.
Yes.
It took like 2 days to get it from our web team guys, but I've got it. I've put it up every 4 weeks. And Fran noticed I did make a mistake because I was using the wrong Google, so that's why I put it in. So I'm going to put it in. I said it was 8 a.m. It's 9 a.m. No, it's 8 a.m. Sorry, it's 9 a.m. It's 8 a.m. For the 1 o'clock tour. So I'll be back on Thursday as well with Agav O'Brien, who's the Gaelic consultant for Outlander. He's joining me on tour on Thursday, and we're doing Westeros. So I know you were like just waking up the other day, Sherry. So we're going to be doing Westeros. So this is not Outlander themed, although Agav will be with us, so he'll be able to explain any Outlander things that you might want to know. But it's really about my favourite place or my spiritual home in Scotland. That's what we're going to go over on Thursday.
Where's that?
Westeros.
Yeah, he has to go into work late so he can be here. He has to.
Ooh, awesome, Gary. Love it.
He's amazing.
That's you're going to be with us now. So, what was I was saying something there and I've forgotten.
Westeros.
Yeah, Westeros. Yes. So Westeros is way up on the west coast of Scotland, very remote part of the country. Jacobite heartland as well. Beautiful Mackenzie territory, actually. So if you like the Mackenzie connection that you see in Outlander, you can get some Mackenzies up there at Gairloch. It's where I had my ghostly experience at the age of 16, so I'll be bringing that in. And we'll be taking pictures. I did a special tour there last year, and we'll be doing sea kayaking, falconry, and some hiking together.
Do you go as far as Loch Ewe?
We do. That's where we're going. We're going to Loch Ewe.
Good.
Yes.
Good. I saw the history on World War II on that.
Yes. So we actually we hiked over to the American War Monument over there, and just on the other side we went to the little museum on it. So we do visit that on tour. So so you'll get a lot of that with me. On Memorial Week as well, you had Memorial Day the other day, so hopefully that's going to be important for some folks with the Second World War history and the American base that was there. So definitely.
Very interesting.
Yes, love history.
I love
Thank you so much.
You're very welcome, guys. And Nicole, thanks for staying up late with
great.
me.
It was so nice spending time with you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh,
Good to see you.
Guys.
Yes,
Nice to see you
everybody.
all. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Take care. Much love.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye now.